day, viewers, and welcome to another OnSide SA soccer show. Paul is still away until next week, and joining us shortly from his Fulham studio in the UK is our regular correspondent, Stevie Braham. But in the studio with me this morning is our Manning Rangers League winner, Gavin Radford. Gav.
Morning, bunch. Good to be here again. Some nice soccer last night with the EPL. So a couple of teams resting players, but all around some good soccer.
Yeah, I watched a few flicking channels. There were a few. That Chelsea game got a bit nasty towards the end, but anyway. We start off, as always, with our last one standing competition. And heading into week 6, we had 331 entries. 249 were successful. 122 were on Brighton, 63 on Man City, 37 on Newcastle, 29 on Man United, and 18 on Liverpool. The guys who went out were 43 on Brighton, 23 on Wolves, 8 on Chelsea, 6 Crystal Palace, and 1 each on Arsenal and Luton. As agreed with last week, our ladies that sailed through, and there are 23 of them. They are Nicola Grove, Paula Heap, Ancilla Jackson, Starlene Hoosen, Renee Roos, Tracy Nell, Eva Micklewood, Linda Potts, Tennille and Montana Verners, Jackie Cullen, Carol Whitehead, Ashley Berger, Yvonne Borenser, Cindy Rydell, Janice Lafferty, Laura Dalcho, Pauline Young, Sam Cooper Bull, Blair Miller, Kerry and Jocelyn Everett, and our current champion Sue Miller is still in, obviously not listening to her husband Willie. On to the international guys, or the guys living outside of South Africa. They were in Brendan Smith, Tace Statler, Gary Spencer, Francois Dumi, Eric Narak, Jason Dunbar, Tyron Coote, Ken Moby. Can't believe this. Stephen and Ian Byrne still in. Steve Griffiths, Steve Potter, Seb and Jack Power, Derek Ramsey, Neil Horsman, Mark Rogers, Roger Scott, Stevie Braham, Calvin Cass, Harold Renkin, Ashley Rushton, and Jonah Prentice. Star performance of the week goes to former champion Hassan Moore, who had 3 separate winners, while our toad favourite and current champion Enzo Capolo, who was the chairman of the anti-Man United Supporters Club. Now, guys, I'll be heading overseas tonight, and as I said last week, I need the picks by 12 o'clock on Saturday. Reason being, I have to email the selections to my right-hand man, Gareth Parsons. He will create the PDF and obviously forward it to everybody. Now, the rule is, if I don't hear from you by that time, you will get the highest team in the league that you haven't used. I hope it doesn't come to that, because I'd hate you to go out, but please, guys, get studying. Gav?
I'm still in, so I'm a bit worried. I'm doubting myself. But yeah, I've gone 7 weeks. I'm hoping I can go a bit further this tournament. So we'll play it by ear, see how it goes. I've got a couple of nice teams still to come. So good luck to all the boys.
Yep. Stevie B, still going strong.
Yeah, uncharted territory. So yeah, it should be interesting.
Okay.
Getting tougher now.
Yeah. Steve, League Cup, obviously there were plenty of games over the weekend, but Tuesday night there were one or two. I can't believe Man United, 3 Crystal Palace nil. I was impressed with what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit of rotation going on, probably more so from Palace. I mean, they really didn't put up that much of a fight, and United, in all fairness, won at a canter. So I think Ten Hag will be sort of fairly pleased with, I guess, it's mainly his second string, but it was a comfortable win. And obviously they play each other again at the weekend, which often happens. Yeah. So it'll be a different team, I guess, for both of them.
Gav, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the teams were rotating their squads quite a bit, but United at Old Trafford, always going to be tough to beat. Palace came there with a youthful side. United had some good energy, some nice young players coming through. Just hope they get a bit of a better opportunity to play regularly. Yeah, we've got about 7 or 8 injuries, so we have to play. You have to dig deep into your reserves.
Play the guys that want to play, not the guys that look like don't want to play. Big game last night, Steve. I watched a lot of it. Newcastle 1, Man City 0. Obviously, you at the Fulham game. Did you see the highlights?
Yeah. I watched the highlights sort of after. No, I mean, they both rotated, probably City a bit more so, but it sounded like Newcastle wanted it more. Pep was being pressed on the fact that he rotated, but, ultimately they've got a strong squad, and, he kept Haaland on the bench. If he was really concerned, he could have brought him on towards the end.
Yeah.
And it's, City have dominated that competition in recent years, so I guess it's good for some of the other teams that they've got out at this stage.
Gav, do you watch it?
Yeah, I watched a bit of the Newcastle game. I think we discussed the game during the course of the day, and we both came up with Newcastle to win. Like Steve said, I think Newcastle wanted it more.
Yeah.
Passionate performance. You can see the crowd gets behind them. They're a difficult team to beat on their home patch. City up against a little. City has always dominated possession.
Yeah.
But Newcastle got stuck into them again last night.
Yeah, it took 10-1 Newcastle to win it, purely because I think they have to win a trophy where other big clubs don't. But we'll discover they've got Man United away in the next round, so that could be the end of the bet. Steve, Fulham last night, comfortable victory?
It was. Well, we were at 2-0. It looked like that would be it. And then we sort of gifted Norwich a goal, and then it got a bit scrappy.
Yeah.
I mean, we had more than enough of the game, and something like 19 shots at goal, but only 3 on target. And I think that's our problem. Just not sort of clinical enough, but, comfortable enough, and through to play another championship team away at Ipswich would be a good game.
Yeah. Gav, did you see the Chelsea-Brighton game, Gav?
No, I didn't see the game. I was flicking through the channels going from game to game, but I didn't catch much of it. But I expected Chelsea to win.
Yeah.
Their run has gone too long where they're too good a team not to win.
Yeah.
I thought on their home ground, home advantage, they'll win it, and they did. They win 1-0.
I got a bit spicy, Steve. I watched quite a bit of it, obviously flicking between the United game. That Cucurella and Caicedo, they were getting a bit of stick from... from the Chelsea fans, but 1-0, good luck to them, and away they go. And Arsenal, I see, beat Brentford 1-0, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, it was an early goal, and then it sounded like Ramsdale, he played Ramsdale, and it sounded like he had a good game, made a couple of good saves. This whole thing about rotating, I can understand, I guess, teams in Europe, but the teams who aren't in Europe, why they're not playing their strongest available side, really surprised me. But again, it's another one of the big teams through. I mean, I know in the past, Arsene Wenger never took the League Cup that seriously and played weak teams most of the time. So it'd be interesting to see what Arteta does if they progress.
Yeah, another game I did see a few minutes. Liverpool, I missed the first couple of minutes, and Leicester went 1-0 up, but Liverpool had about 20 chances in the first half, and they're looking strong, Liverpool, who are 3-1 favourites to win the cup. As far as the last 16 goes, Ipswich are at home to Fulham, Man United at home to Newcastle, West Ham, Arsenal, London, Derby, Bournemouth hosts Liverpool, and Chelsea, Blackburn. So end of October, that is the next round.
Yeah.
On to the Premiership for the weekend, Steve, and a nice game to kick us off. 13:30 our time, 12:30 UK time. Aston Villa, Brighton. How do you see it going? Yeah,
this will be a good game. They'll both be back to full strength as they can. Villa were, by the sounds of it, very disappointing last night. He rotated quite a bit, whereas Everton didn't, and sounded like Everton were good value. Look, Villa, as we know, are very strong at home. They're winning all their home games, but Brighton are sort of tough team to beat away. I think this will be close. I've just got a feeling Villa might just edge this one, but I think it's going to be a close game.
Gav?
Yeah, the betting is suggesting that the game will end in a draw, 14-10, 16-10. That's the way the betting goes, but on the playing time, nowhere near. Both teams playing above the expectations. I think they're both in the top 10. I think one is 6th and one is third in the league. So it should be a good game. Villa, home ground advantage. Maybe lean towards them 2-1. We're expecting Brighton to maybe slip up last week, but they got through comfortably. Villa on form in Europe. I'm going Aston Villa 2-1.
Yeah, I think either way, I think goals is the right way to go. Aston Villa have won their last 9 home league games, so but there has to be goals in this particular game. And remember watching this game last year, Steve, Villa caught them on the break 2 or 3 times, so like Everton and West Ham have done previous. They'll sit tight, look to catch them on the break. So, goals is my suggestion. Is there any possibility, Steve, that Bournemouth can upset Arsenal?
Look, I mean, anything could happen. I mean, Bournemouth, it can be tough at home, but I think the way that both teams are playing this season, I would be very surprised if it's anything other than an Arsenal away win. So for me, they've won their games away this season, Arsenal, and I think they'll do it again. And I fancy them to do it and keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, Gav.
Arsenal to win comfortably, but I think Bournemouth went 1-0 up against Brighton last week, and we thought, here comes an upset. But as the game progresses, their frailties come to the surface. Arsenal just be too good and too clinical for them up front. I think Arsenal to win comfortably.
Yeah, I agree. I'm all over Arsenal. Just looking at the particular bets, Arsenal to win by more than 1 goal, 12-10. Arsenal to score over 2.5 goals. I thought that wasn't bad, 13-10. But I've taken a chance. Both over 2.5 goals and both teams to score no. So that's a 3-0, 4-0 Arsenal victory is 5-1. So I've had a few rand on that bet. But I think Arsenal, I think it's a comfortable victory. One team that surprised everybody last week was Everton, Steve. Great performance at Brentford. Surely they've got to beat Luton Town.
I would think so. By the sounds of it, they were by far the better team at Villa last night. No, it was a very strong performance away at Brentford. Maybe obviously they've got sort of Calvert-Lewin back now. Whether he's going to be fit enough to play a whole 90 minutes, but they look much stronger. And maybe it's the wheels are just turning for Sean Dyche. Luton concede too many goals. They were fortunate, really, that obviously they were up against 10 men in the end and got a point. But I think Everton are going to win that, and I think they'll win it by a couple of goals.
Gav?
100%. Everton have turned the corner. It looks like they've won their last 2 games. Luton, I suggested to have a bet on Luton to get relegated. I can't see them surviving this year.
Yeah.
Very, very short of players up front. Everton, Calvert-Lewin, he's definitely the catalyst for the team there. He just seems to add extra energy to their strike force and gets the guys playing. But I think Everton to win comfortably. Yeah,
I agree. Over 1.5 Everton goals is 7.5-10. The handicap to win by more than 1 is 15-10. But my only concern with Everton is every time they have 2 steps forward, they end up having 1 step backwards. But on their last performance, and I think Decore playing a little bit more in an advanced role has definitely helped them. Man United, Crystal Palace, Steve, comfortable victory in midweek. This will be a lot tougher, but surely United have got to get the 3 points.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, obviously it was very comfortable for United on Tuesday, but I think that they're going to look at this Palace team and think that they could beat them again. And I think they need to bounce back from their last home match, where obviously lost to Brighton.
Yeah.
I mean they won at Burnley, but it wasn't a classic. It was a great goal, but Burnley gave them a real match for them. So I think that it's a close game. Palace are not an easy team to beat, but I fancy United to just edge it.
Gav?
Yeah, it's amazing, Bud, how much pressure is on the United team. I mean, just walking in the streets and guys telling me, your team's going to get relegated, your manager's going to get fired. I mean, that's the pressure United comes with. Playing a Crystal Palace team, I think they'll give us a bit of a game, but on our home patch, I think United are too strong. I was very impressed with Arabat the other night. Played really well, good on the ball. Seemed to stabilise a lot of the play for us, and then allowed Casemiro to play forward. I think United will win maybe 3-1.
Yeah, I must say, I don't know if he'll start, but you've got to have 2 proper midfield players in there. You can't just play one and Casemiro, his legs are gone. So Amrabat hopefully becomes the anchor and you go from there. I'd like to hope Harry Maguire plays for his conference. Only thing I've got against Crystal Palace, they will sit tight, but Old Trafford's a massive pitch. Selhurst Park's a nice and tight ground, but if United can't get another 3 points here, the guys will be chirping. But to me, I think it's a comfortable win. And my suggestion, over 4.5 bookings at 8.5-10. Newcastle, Burnley, Steve, looks like another home win.
You would think so. I mean, when you look at the way that Newcastle demolished Sheffield United last Sunday, you think they'd be too strong. But Burnley are showing some nice touches. I mean, they haven't got the points to match the performances, but I still can't see anything other than a home win here.
Yeah, Gav?
All over, banker, Newcastle, pay the money. I think it's game over. It's on their form at the moment, at home on their home patch.
Yeah.
Can't see Burnley troubling them. I think this could be another 3 or 4-0.
Yeah, I think Burnley can score. They've had plenty of chances and they should have gone ahead against United last week. Yeah, I looked at over 2.5 goals, both teams to score, yes. So it was 11.5-10. Burnley are going to crack it. They lost away game against Forest. They did play well, and Somehow, Steve, I just think that Newcastle, after beating Man City, will start slowly. So I'm going to have a few rand on Burnley to score, be the first goal scorer. I think I saw 2-1. So just for an interest, but both teams to score. But I saw the price 80 at 9, just under 9-10. I think Burnley will grab one. Anyway, on to the second page, and we have West Ham United hosting Sheffield United. Looks another home banker, Steve.
Yeah, you would think so. I imagine that Paul Heckingbottom read the riot act to the Sheffield United team after that performance, because they basically just waved the white flag in the second half. Yeah. I think West Ham will be too strong, but I think it'll be a lot closer than than last week's game. But I still fancy West Ham by a couple.
Yeah, Gav?
Yeah, West Ham for me, but I can't see them losing on the Sheffield United form. Just nothing up front for them to trouble West Ham. I think on the big pitch, West Ham for me all the way. 7th playing 20th in the league. West Ham improving day by day under Moyes. I think easy afternoon for West Ham.
Yeah, I agree. 6-10 West Ham to score over 1.5 goals. And the -1 handicap is 11-10. But I'm going to take 9-2 over 2.5 goals and both teams to score no. I think West Ham will win 3-4-0. They should. They rested all the players last night in the League Cup. I think West Ham are going to have another good season. Wolves, Man City. Steve, another game that looks should be a comfortable win for the league champions.
Yeah, I would think so. Obviously, he rested a number of his key players last night, Pep. Wolves sort of rested the same, but came unstuck at Ipswich. I can't see anything other than a City win. Wolves played well in their last home game against Liverpool, but in the second half, Liverpool just wore them down, and the class showed. And I'd be surprised if it's anything other than a City by 2 or 3.
Gav?
But I've got to get hold of Ten Hag to buy up Neto. He is phenomenal, that boy. He can play. He's wasted in a Wolves team that's going nowhere. On this game, I can see City winning quite comfortably 3-4-0. But Neto for me, come on, guys, out there, you've got to buy this guy and put him in a bigger team to show you what he can do. I think he's really a great player. But Man City, 3-4-0 for me.
Yeah, I've got to look at the Haaland. I haven't seen this morning what price he was his first goal scorer. Only problem is that of late, Man City haven't had as many chances as they had. A lot of their creative players are missing, but surely they've got to be in all your multiples. Tottenham, Liverpool, Steve, the big game. Give Paul one reason why they can get the 3 points.
Well, look, they thought they played very well at the Emirates, and they came back twice, had a number of chances, against an Arsenal team that everyone is sort of raving about. I think this is going to be a very, very close game. I think there's, the one thing you think they guarantee there should be goals. Yeah. Liverpool concede, but they score. I can see it being a sort of a 2-2 sort of score draw. Yeah. I just have a feeling that they could cancel each other out, but I think it's certainly the game of the weekend.
Yeah.
But I've seen some extra energy levels in this Tottenham team that I haven't seen for the last couple of years. They really picked their game up and defended tightly as a group. They've gone forward as a group. Song's leading the team quite nicely up front. Tough game for Liverpool. The crowd's going to be on Spurs' side. The home game for them. It's a tough game to call. I think the second verse, fourth in the league. I'm sure I'm going to stick my neck out and say a draw here.
Yeah, I'll just look at both goalkeepers here. I watched a little bit of the Tottenham-West Ham game, and the goalkeeper, he kept them in the game. Liverpool, there were open gates at the back, and Alisson's made some great saves to keep them in it. Spurs boys going to get tested this weekend. Of what I've seen, I've really been impressed with Spurs, but I just think Liverpool have that extra little bit of quality all round. I'll be at the game, so I'm hoping Tottenham win, sitting with the masses, but I just got a funny feeling that Liverpool are going to grab them. But I think this is a 3-2 game, Steve. There's guaranteed goals. Over 3.5 goals is even money. So that tells you, but this will be a humdinger. So I'll be watching it. And all the markets are short. I'll just wait for the team, and let's just see. I'll have a bet on any time goal scorer. Hopefully it's Maddison, round about 5-2. Steve, on to Sunday. Notts Forest versus Brentford. Can you see Forest getting causing an upset?
Yeah, I think they can. I think they've shown a little bit more this season, and they're strong at the City ground. Yeah. Brentford certainly came unstuck against Everton. I mean, they've only had the one league win this season. I think if there was to be a winner, I fancy Forest. They won they won sort of a number of games 1-0 at home last season that kept them up, and I think it could be that sort of scoreline.
Gav?
Yeah, tight game. I think Forest at home, I'll put my life on them, but Forest at home should get the better of Brentford. I think there's a lot of rumblings in the camp now that Ivan Toney might be leaving, so that might unsettle them a little bit. But Forest at home, always tough to beat, chase everything down. Their forward line is not too bad. For me, Forest.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I was disappointed in Brentford. They've only won one game this season. That was at Fulham, and Fulham had a red card when they won 3-0. So that masks a problem. Prior to that, they'd drawn their 3 league games at home. I know they played Spurs. They weren't bad teams. But I was disappointed in them against Everton. Normally, they're a physical side that win the tackles. They never won a tackle. Their set plays were superb. They got outfought. I was really disappointed in them. Last night, I know they got beat by Arsenal. That can be accepted, but I fancy Forest of the two teams. And I've taken 15-10, Steve, Notts Forest to score over 1.5 goals. I think there'll be goals in this, but of the two teams, I like Forest. Now, Steve, you won't believe my bet in the next game, but Fulham-Chelsea, how do you see it going?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, we beat them last season, but, they really are a bogey team for us. We rarely beat them. It's like twice in sort of 20-odd years. So, for me, a draw's not the worst result. Chelsea obviously have a bit of confidence after last night, because they've been really appalling in the league, haven't scored in the whole of September in the league. But, look, anything could happen. I think that it's going to be tight. They normally are tight games. And maybe we could upset the apple cart, but I fancy a draw here for this.
Gav?
Yeah, but I'm waiting for this Chelsea team to kick into gear. I'm seeing signs of life in their team coming through. I'm a little bit worried about the forward line for Chelsea, to be honest. I think the guys up front just aren't firing at the moment, but there's something there that Pochettino just needs to tap into to get them going. Tough place to go to Fulham to try and get that wheel to start turning. I'm leaning towards Chelsea. Because I'm waiting for that spark to kick in. And I think maybe this weekend it could be for them. Could be a turning point.
Gav, a wise man once told me, rather back a winner until he loses than a loser until he wins. I know they got lucky last night, Chelsea. That guy missed 2 great chances a game. Steve, I think this has got an upset written all over it. I remember, I think you beat them last year at home. Yeah. And I just got a funny feeling. You're more of a team. This team's all over the place. I went over 2.5, both teams to score, yes, and I took 18-10, Fulham to score over 1.5 goals. I think Fulham's at their best, playing well at home, big game. Chelsea, I know they've got all the possession and all the players, but I just don't see much of a unity in that camp. And obviously last night's result will be a boost to them, but for me, I fancy your boys, Fulham. On to the championship.
Well, one of the positive, I'm just going to say that Jackson, who scored, is suspended on Monday. Okay. So, that's a positive for us. But look, listen, I'm normally a little bit more pessimistic about my own team. Yes. But if we do win, then, they're one of the teams that, if you beat them, it's like any derby, isn't it, really? Yeah. You get bragging rights for a while.
Yeah, I just don't see much spirit there, Steve. Normally when they win, they're hugging and dancing and carrying on. I don't see that at Chelsea. They're a team of individuals. That's all they are. They're no team. Anyway, on to the championship. Friday night, Steve. Sheffield, Wednesday, Sunderland. How do you see it going?
Yeah, I fancy Sunderland. They came unstuck recently, but I think there's going to be goals. The one thing that we know that Sheffield Wednesday concede and Sunderland can score. I think it'd be a good game. There'll be goals, but I fancy if there was to be a winner, Sunderland to win that one.
Yeah, I was all over them on the weekend, Steve. I need them to score to land 3 bets, and they sold me down the river. I see Bradley Dack got injured. I didn't know that. As you say, Sheffield Wednesday, but I watched them in their first game against Southampton. They have fought hard. This may be a chance, but I agree. Of the two teams, Sunderland, obviously the betting gives it away, but a score draw wouldn't surprise me. And 8-10, both teams to score, looks a decent price. Two teams that got relegated last season from the Premiership, Steve, seem to be heading in different directions. Southampton, Leeds, which way do you see it going?
Yeah, I think Leeds just starting to turn the corner. It was a big win at home last week.
Yeah.
Away, they've been strong. Southampton just can't stop conceding goals. I mean, Russell Martin with Swansea, they like to play football and they play out from the back, and it hasn't been working because the games I've watched, they keep getting caught out and they're gifting goals. And I think Leeds will tear through them. I just have a feeling that this could be another painful day for the Saints.
Yeah, I totally agree. I got a good mate of ours, Gary Green, and he's a staunch Southampton supporter. He streams all the games and he keeps cursing and swearing. He said the guys at the back can't play out from the back, but this is the way the manager wants to play. They're selling themselves short. It should be 13-10, but surely at home he's got to change his tactics. But one thing that's guaranteed, there are goals. Bristol City, Stoke City, Steve. Stoke City been really disappointing. Should be a great chance for Bristol City to climb up the table.
Yeah, I think you're right. And away from home, Stoke have been disappointing, and Bristol have been sort of fairly strong. I fancy a home win. I think it'll be close, but I fancy a home win.
Yeah, I have to go with Bristol City. Cardiff, I've watched them last couple of times. Really been impressed with how hard they fought. 7-10, I think, is a decent price, even though it's short. Surely they've got to beat Rotherham, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, away from home, Rotherham just can't stop conceding goals. Yeah. And at home, I think Cardiff should be too strong. They shipped 5 goals last night, Cardiff, but they sort of rotated a bit. Yeah. I think their last home win was against Swansea. They played very well, and I think Cardiff will be too strong.
Yeah, Huddersfield under new manager Darren Moore. I watched it on Monday night. They scored in the last kick of the game at Coventry. Good chance to get a few points here, Steve, or you see Ipswich steamrolling them?
Yeah, no, I thought they were a little bit fortunate, Huddersfield. I mean, Coventry should have had that game wrapped up earlier. I think that Ipswich will carry on. I mean, they've won 8 out of 9 League and Cup games this year, scoring goals for fun, and I think they'll go there and get a result.
Yeah, I've got to fancy them. I haven't watched Ipswich this week, but I've watched Huddersfield. I was really impressed how hard they fought, but a point's the best they can get. Hull City, Steve, home against Plymouth Argyle, beat Norwich 6. I know they played Preston. The guys were impressed. My North End mate Sue said they're really impressed with how they attacked Plymouth Argyle. I fancy Hull to beat them though, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, Hull are having a reasonable season. Yeah. But as you say, Plymouth, that was a huge win last week. But on the road, they've struggled. They've conceded goals. I think Hull are favourites, but I think there's value in that in the Argyle odds this week for sure.
Yeah, for me, Hull City to win, both teams to score 5-2. I think that's a great price. Another team, we caught Swansea City right last week, but going to the Den to beat Millwall. It's going to be a tight game, Steve. Which way do you see it going?
Yeah, I think they'll certainly give Millwall a good game, but I think at the Den, Millwall are just normally a little bit too strong, and they were very comfortable last time out at home. So at least either a point or a home win. Not sure Swansea have got enough about them to go there and win it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, you watched Norwich City last night. I watched them get beat by Leicester. The injuries are mounting. I fancy an upset with Birmingham City, Steve. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing is, I think a team with a bit more to the clinical finishing would have had far more than the 2 goals we scored. Yeah. They're lively up front, Norwich. To be fair to them, they had a bit of a go. Yeah. But defensively, and I think that Birmingham on the road will be too strong. They've got young Jay Stansfield, who's really doing well, scored 3 goals on loan from Fulham. And I think that, for me, there's a lot of value in that bet.
Yeah, it's 8-10 Birmingham win or draw. And I watched them against QPR. If they'd had a proper goal scorer, it would have been like 3-3. It was really a good game. But I was really impressed with what I saw from Birmingham. And if Josh Sargent, the Norwich City centre forward, isn't fit, I can smell an upset.
No, he's injured. He's out injured.
Okie dokie. Now, my boys, Preston North End, the Invincibles from Deepdale. Disappointing draw last week. Took us from first place to third. Can we beat West Brom, Steve?
Yeah, I think you can. It'd be close. Look, they should have won last week. When you look at the stats, they completely dominated. Just couldn't sort of break Rotherham down. Look, West Brom are just sort of flashing to deceive. They're just not quite. I think a lot of people thought they'd have a better season this season, but I think they normally score. But I think Preston should just edge this one, and I think that at home you're strong, and I just fancy you to get a result.
Yeah, what's strange? You've won all 4 games. 2-1. I think 2-1 is 7-1, so maybe worth an interest. But I fancy Preston 14-10 at home against a West Brom team. I watched them the first game of the season. They lost 2-1 at Blackburn, and I've backed them a couple of times, Steve. You know, they just seem to be, one of these days they're going to catch it right, but I just hope it's not this weekend. QPR Coventry. Just watching Coventry, they definitely missed that centre forward that they sold. QPR, you just never know. I was impressed with them too, but they also missed a couple of chances last Friday in the 0-0 draw with Birmingham. 24-10, Steve. That's what I fancy, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, both are having sort of mixed seasons. QPR picked up a few points recently.
Yeah.
You know, when they were struggling. I think they could certainly hold Coventry at home. As you say, they haven't. They've lost their two star players really. Coventry, Gyökeres and Gustavo Harmer. And they haven't quite replaced them. And I think they brought in Sims from Everton, who looks lively, but they are missing something. I think they'll have a reasonable season, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So I think this could be a game where they cancel each other out.
Yeah, looks like it's got 1-1 written all over it. Now, Watford, Middlesbrough. See, Middlesbrough got a good result last weekend. They beat, it was at 2-1, they beat Southampton. Watford have been a bit disappointing, Steve. Can they rebound, Watford?
They can at home. I mean, they won last time out, but they were well beaten at Leeds by all accounts. Yeah. I think Borough, it'd be interesting if they had a comfortable win in the League Cup during the week, and whether or not Michael Carrick has just got them to turn the corner a bit, I think that remains to be seen. But I think this is the sort of game that could go either way. But I just have a feeling Borough could hold them.
Yeah, I fancy you do. I think so. 8-10 over 2. I think it was even money. Over 2.5 goals, 8-10, both teams to score. That's the way I'm going. And Sunday lunchtime, Steve, Blackburn, Leicester City. This should be a cracker.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think there'll be goals. And the one thing, Blackburn score goals, but they concede as well. Yeah. I mean, Leicester have looked strong in the Championship. Obviously, they had one sort of disappointing result, but otherwise, they are strong. I think there'll be goals, but I think if there was to be a winner, I fancy
Leicester, me too. I think Leicester. We're just watching them last night. The conference, they seem to play with a bit of strut, and that was at Anfield, which I thought was a bit of a cheek. But once they went 1-1, it was a different game. But I've liked what I've seen from Leicester. They seem to be playing within themselves, but they got plenty of big fish. And being a Sunday lunchtime game, I think 12-10 Leicester is a good thing. Steve, pressure as always. I need your best bet and value bet.
I think I'm going to go for Ipswich Town as my best bet. They're scoring goals, and I fancy them to get a result. I think it'd be close, but I think they've got enough about them. And my value, I was sort of toying with a couple, but I think I'm going to go for Birmingham. I think that they're a hard team to beat. I think if they can get that first goal, I think they'll hang on and win.
All right, Steve. Well, to let you know, my best bet, I'll get Gavin's at the end of the show, but my best bet is Leicester. I think 12-10, 11, 12-10 is a great price. And I can't believe my boys, Preston, we are 16-10 in midweek, 14-10 at home. Good record. Should be a nice crowd there. I'm on my boys. Steve, as always, thanks very much, and hopefully see you over the weekend.
Absolutely. You take it easy.
Cheers,
Bye,
Steve.
bye,
Cheers,
Gav.
Steve. Ciao.
On to the Premiership for the weekend, and we've got several teams that are involved with the CAF Confederations and Champions League. With a couple of games of midweek. Chipper 1, Supersport 0. Gav, did you?
Yeah, a little bit disappointing for Supersport. I think they were caught out a little bit.
Yeah.
Dominate the game in patches, and then they just seem to have no firepower. It comes to the end.
Yeah, once
half chances. Chipper, they're always a dangerous team. Caught them on the break, and that was it.
Impressed with how well organised Chipper are. The red card obviously cost Supersport, but 1-0 Chipper, obviously under 2.5 goals. Now, last night, Kaizer Chiefs came from 1-0 down.
1-0 down. Both the top teams 1-0 down, came back. Chiefs showed a bit of grit this week. Got stuck in a little bit. But again, there's no flow to the game at the moment. If they can just get some type of pattern and play, they look a lot better. But yeah, they got the result they're looking for. Keeps the fans happy. And then on to Sundowns, played in the rain, the pouring rain. Yeah. They seemed to couldn't find their feet in the first 20-25 minutes. Went a goal behind, and then obviously their class comes to the surface. Took the lead, good free kick just before half time, and then it was one-way traffic from there onwards. Yeah. just keeping the ball possession, showing the other teams how to play football in the passing game.
Yeah.
Too good. 8 games out of 8.
Yeah, quality. My problem with Chiefs is why they keep travelling around the country to please their fans. It's actually upsetting the fans. They play at FNB, that's your home stadium. Play your home games there. This coming to Durban to play games and going all over, to me, that's what's costing them.
And you've got to have a home ground where you're comfortable when you go. They must become your fortress. Like you said, I don't know if it's just a marketing thing on their side, but they're such a big club. They don't need to travel around the country, giving points away for nothing.
Yeah, for me, just play at the FNB, that's your stadium. Anyway, we have 4 games on the weekend, and the first one is Friday, Swallows versus AmaZulu.
We have the team AmaZulu that just cannot win a game. I think they've drawn, 2, lost one of the last 3 away from home, but can't seem to get it over the line. I'm going to lean towards Swallows to win this one. Nice price, 13-10.
Yeah, this has got 0-0 written all over it. Dobsonville. But wait for the unders, the goals markets to come out. That would be my suggestion. But a very tight game. Of the 2 teams, you've got to think Steve Compella, Swallows. But I think 2-1 the draw is the right bet. Cape Town City, Cape Town Spurs.
Cape Town City for me, Budge. I think it's the best bet for the weekend in the local soccer.
Yeah.
Cape Town Spurs misfiring. Sean Bartlett, and poor guy, he's got the team up, but they just don't have any firepower to trouble the top teams. I'm going Cape Town City, best bet of the weekend.
I think they've only scored 2 or 3 goals in their 6 league games. But Cape Town City have been struggling. So you just never know. But on what we've seen, it should be Cape Town City.
Let's see how the weather goes, Budge. It's been raining there for like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, that's true. It could be playing with
could be a bit of a mud patch.
Polokwane City, they drew with 0-0 with AmaZulu on Monday. At home to Royal AM, which way you see it going?
No, this one's got a draw written all over it and low in goals. I would go under 2.5 goals for this game.
Yeah.
If I had to stick my neck out, I'll go with Royal AM because they're not too bad on the road.
Yeah.
They get a few results on the road. So they've won 1, drew 1, lost 1 of the last 3. So it's a bit of a mixed bag from them, but they do have a little bit of an X factor to the team, and maybe they could shade it 2-1, 1-0.
What's strange, they now play in Peter Maritzburg at the Harry Gwala. When they played at Chatsworth Stadium, they were hard to beat there. Why they've moved up there, I don't know. But likewise, I agree, 2-1. Now, TS Galaxy, 12-10 is a short price against Richards Bay. And I tell you why, Gab. They've won 2 games. They've only scored 2 goals this year. I couldn't believe it when I looked at the league log. I like watching them. They can play.
You got 9th versus 15th. Richards Bay flying last year, and the year before they got promoted. They were really looking good. Dynamic for the league, scoring lots of goals, consistent. This year, just fallen off the goal scoring charts. They just can't seem to put it together. TS Galaxy, I know they're battling. They've won 2 and drew 1 of their last 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to lean for TS Galaxy to win this one, just purely on form that Richards Bay just cannot get over the line at the moment.
Yeah, under 2.5 goals sure looks a good thing. Well, if you want to have a bet, I think I saw 5-2. TS Galaxy to win 2-0. So that would be my way. But I agree with Gavin. Cape Town City do look the best bet of the weekend. On to our Soccer Saturday exotics. And we kick off with our score 6. And the first game up is Aston Villa versus Brighton. I'm going the field in that particular game. I think Arsenal will be too good at Bournemouth. I've thrown the draw in with Everton at home against Luton Town. And looking for a payday, I've thrown the draw in with Man United at home against Crystal Palace. I think Man City will be too good for Wolves. And the field in the Tottenham Hotspur Liverpool clash, 216 Rand. On to other Soccer 6 on Saturday. I'm chancing Cape Town City to beat Cape Town Spurs. Going the field in the Polokwane City Royal AM and Tottenham Hotspur. Liverpool fixtures, I don't see Real Madrid beating second place. I've gone the draw. Real Madrid win and draw at Girona. Bayern Munich, who are looking to get a... They lost 3-0 to RB Leipzig in the Super Cup. They're looking for revenge, and I think they'll get it at RB Leipzig. And I'm going Monaco, win and draw at home against Marseille, 2-1-6. On to our score 10 for Saturday. I'm going the field in the Aston Villa-Brighton game. Leeds United, win and draw at Southampton. I think Arsenal will be too good for Bournemouth. Everton, win and draw at home against Luton Town. Man United, win and draw at home against Crystal Palace. A second page, I'm banking Newcastle United to beat Burnley, West Ham to beat Sheffield United, and Man City to beat Wolves. Birmingham City win and draw at Norwich, and the field in the Tottenham Liverpool game, 288. On to the soccer 13, I'm going Liverpool win and draw at Tottenham. A slew of bankers. I'm banking Arsenal to beat Bournemouth, Man United to beat Crystal Palace, Everton to beat Luton Town, Newcastle to beat Burnley, Man City to win at Wolves, and West Ham to beat Sheffield United. On to the second page, I'm going Ipswich Town to avoid defeat at Huddersfield Town. I'm going Millwall win and draw at home against Swansea City. Birmingham City, siding with them to avoid defeat at Norwich City. I've added the draw in with Preston North End at home against West Brom. Coventry City win and draw at Queen's Park Rangers. And Watford win and draw at home against Middlesbrough, 256. On to our budgies bets for the weekend. For Premiership treble, I'm going over 2.5 goals. Both teams to score yes in the Aston Villa Brighton and Fulham Chelsea fixtures, and I'm going over 2.5 goals, both teams to score no. Bournemouth Arsenal 4,100 to 200. My team goal sides, I'm going Aston Villa, West Ham, Notts Forest and Fulham, all to score over 1.5 goals, 3,700 to 200. Onto the Championship, I'm going Hull City to beat Plymouth Argyle and both teams to score yes, and Preston to beat West Brom and Leicester to beat Blackburn on Sunday, 3,600 to 200. Both teams to score sides are Bristol City, Stoke City, Cardiff, Rotherham, Norwich, Birmingham City, QPR, Coventry City and Watford, Middlesbrough, 3,400 to 200. On to Spain, I'm going Barcelona to beat Sevilla on Friday and both teams to score yes, and both teams to score in the Getafe Villarreal, Real Sociedad Athletic Bilbao and Alaves Osasuna games, 4,100 to 200. And our Collis King 6 or Nixa, I'm going Arsenal to beat Bournemouth, Everton to beat Luton Town, Man City to beat Wolves, Newcastle to beat Burnley, West Ham to beat Sheffield United and Leicester to beat Blackburn, 2,600 to 200. Gav?
But I just see a weekend full of home results. I think the home teams are going to perform well this week. I'm going with Newcastle, Everton and West Ham. I think they're the three that might be a little bit short, but you might go around 2.5 to 1. But home teams for me this weekend.
And throw Cape Town City in 6 to 1 if for your quad.
Got to do something big.
Yeah, I've got to try and play. They do look good things. There's always one upset. Let's hope it's not what our money's on.
Well, enjoy your game at the Liverpool Spurs game. Fantastic. Nice trip. Enjoy it.
And to everybody that's still in the last one standing, please, guys, 12 o'clock Saturday is closing time. I don't want you phoning me after I'm on the way to the game to change your selection. Remember, it's the highest team in the league that you haven't already used. Until next week, please stay on side.